Hi, my name is Anne Ahokangas, and I'm so glad you have chosen my voice here to be your meditation's guide. Know that as you embark on this process, you may have varying degrees of familiarity with this meditation and visioning process. So make sure you have a piece of paper and a pen to write with. And know that during this process, I'm going to ask you some questions, so you may open your eyes and write down what comes to you. So go ahead now and find your best surroundings and make yourself comfortable wherever you are listening. Make sure you are safe and secure enough to remain undisturbed for at least the next little while. And now, if you're ready, just close your eyes and begin to move your conscious attention and your settling awareness to the gentle rise and fall of your chest. And become a little more aware of each breath arriving and each breath flowing out. Simply allowing yourself to breathe continuously and easily. Always with a very natural and normal, easy flow. In and out. As you take this time and this space to relax a little more, bringing your focus inside as you begin to transition consciously to the center of your being. With each exhale, allow your body to relax a little more. I invite you to let go of anything that came before this moment. For these next few moments, you can simply be here, now. Just allow your body to be completely relaxed. Through visioning, you create a space of deep listening and awareness to fully embrace the divine idea for your highest good. Visioning is an excellent tool for your personal growth and also for any important project in which you are engaged. There is always a spiritual prototype or divine idea for everything that exists. Through visioning, you make yourself available to embrace the highest idea for your life, for your work, so you may be more completely experiencing your highest good. When you're visioning, it's important to let go of all expectations and simply allow your intuition to flow. Are you ready to relax and let go? Do that now. And remember to stay out of trying to figure out how anything will happen. And stay out of analyzing what comes forward. Know that during the visioning, your answers might come in the form of words, pictures, sounds, smells. You are tapping into the soul of the universe, which is your soul, and your soul knows it makes sense. Visioning is a meditative process. So know when you are through with this meditation, you will have a chance to write down anything that came to you as part of this visioning process. Now take a moment to notice your breath in and out. Imagine you are in a field of unconditional love. An atmosphere in which to create. Unconditional love gives itself totally in every place in the universe, with no conditions or withholds. You are in a place of full giving. Are you ready to receive it now? Then take this moment and feel the love. Allow it to grow and multiply. What does it feel like if it's 10 times more? How about 50 times more? Feel the love at 100 times more. Feel the love everywhere present. Letting go of any ideas or notions of what should happen. Just allow your mind to be still. What is Spirit's highest idea or highest vision for my prosperity and abundance? What must I become to empower this vision? What must I be? What must I release? What do I need to let go of that no longer serves me? What limited thought or limited way of being doesn't allow for this vision to expand? What gift do I bring? What gift do I already bring to this idea. Is there anything else? Any other information I need to know in this moment? Take the time now to enter into a space of willingness, of openness, of allowing. Tap into that place within that knows that it knows and can only say, yes, I am willing. Use me. I am open to receive. Can you feel the openness? Just allow that to expand. Allow the willingness, the yes, to open. Allow it to fill your consciousness, to fill your awareness. And know that as you come back to full awareness, to full consciousness in this moment, in this place, that you can take a few minutes to write down anything that came to you during this visioning. Again, remembering not to analyze it, just write it down. So let's take this moment now in gratitude for this short affirmative treatment. Join with me in consciousness. In this divine space, centered in the essence of the One, I realize the vision is already manifested in the mind of God, in the mind of Spirit. I allow it to be in my awareness too. My mind is filled with the words, thoughts, and feelings of tremendous thanksgiving and appreciation. I know I have been lovingly guided and supported and always am. I know it is already done, so I let go and I let it be so. And so it is. Welcome to Unity Online. I'm Reverend Anne Ahokangas, and I'm here with Emilio Zaras to bring you yet again another, hopefully, inspirational message and music. So let's start with our first song. Intimate with the Infinite by Amy Steinberg and Emilio Zaras.
Let me be intimate with the infinite. Let me be deeply revealed. I want to be one with the knowing, ever present, ever growing. Let me remember what's real. Let me be intimate with the infinite, vulnerable and free. I want to be one with the sweetness, completely one with completeness. Let me be gentle with me, falling in love with everything. Falling in love with divinity, falling in love with everyone, because God is in you and God is in me. Oh, let me be intimate with the infinite. Let me be open to you. I want to sing with the Spirit. I feel it, I hear it, I see in your eyes the truth. Falling in love with everything. Falling in love with divinity. I'm falling in love with everyone, because God is in you and God is in me. Give it to me, give it to me, God. Give it to me, give it to me, God. I'm ready to receive your love. Give it to me, give it to me, God. Give it to me, give it to me, God. I'm ready to receive your love. I'm ready to receive your love.
Wasn't that a beautiful song? It's probably one of my favorite new songs. I just love it. I can feel the love of spirit as I sing it myself. I hope you enjoyed it. So our next song's a little perkier. I Am the Thinker That Thinks the Thoughts by Sue Riley and Emilio Zaras.
I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. If you ask me who am I am wisdom, I am light. I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. If you ask me what am I am beauty, I am joy. I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. Like those beach boys. I can choose to be the light and brighten someone's darkest night. I'm so much more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life.
Join with me in consciousness for this opening intention. Take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and just let it out with a sigh. Oh, letting go of all the whirling thoughts, and bring your focus to your heart center. This is where spirit, the pure essence of life, resides. This is my connection to all that is. And it is from this place that I know that I am the author, the architect, the initiator of my life. For my thoughts, feelings, and deep-held beliefs create my life, for Spirit always says yes. So I focus on gratitude today. I allow my imagination to swell and to see how I feel when I'm grateful. There's a peace in my body. There's a gentle vibration of joy, of comfort, of support, of safety. As I breathe in, I know that I am breathing in new possibilities. And as I breathe out, I let go of everything that no longer serves me, making room for the new. Today, I am open to allow the divine faculty of imagination to create my life. For Spirit always says yes. So with a grateful heart, I let go and I let it be so. Please join with me in affirming. And so it is. And our next song, I Will Surrender. Hope you enjoy it.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and true and free, as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day, and I am more loving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
Beautiful song, wasn't it? The absolute word today is imagination. I claim imagination to raise my consciousness and change the world around me. The power of imagination is the ability to conceptualize, to picture and envision and dream. It is how I add substance to an idea or a thought. As substance builds, as I add more thoughts, ideas, and images to what I desire, I'm able to take action and manifest my dreams. I use daily prayer to stimulate awareness of my divine identity, stimulating new ideas. They may come in visions, dreams, or my still small voice, a gentle inner knowing. The power of imagination, linked with faith, enables me to see beyond appearances, to conceptualize all kinds of possibilities,
As a result, I perceive my life and world in true perfection. Through the power of imagination, I envision peace and harmony among individuals and nations. I affirm prosperity and abundance in all homes and hearts. I claim imagination to raise my consciousness and change the world around me. And so it is. So we're going to look at this theme this month, a pause for guidance. And imagination is the key, sparking our imagination this month. So it's time for a tune-up. And we're going to spark your imagination, here's hoping, and we're going to have a little dress rehearsal. So are you ready? What we see changes what we know. What we know changes what we see. It's a pretty profound statement. Hear that again. What we see changes what we know. What we know changes what we see. And so it's interesting, there are many experiments that prove that if someone's doing an experiment, for instance, and they're watching the experiment, their belief system actually changes the results of the experiment. And the opposite is true. If you ever watched the movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? They talked about the idea, I don't know if you remember this, there was a native man standing on the shore and he was looking out at the ocean and there was a ship coming, but he didn't see it because it was beyond his imagining. And so it did not exist for him. And that's sort of how we are. And it's kind of hard to understand that, but that's how our imagination works. It works through the filter in our mind of what it is that we expect to see and what we have seen in the past. And so sometimes something new passes us by completely if we're not open. So today I'd like to look at how can you be more open to what's going on around you so that you can then be more deliberate with how you're creating your life. So let's move forward here. So let's start with 6 ways that you can enhance your imagination. And there are probably hundreds of ways that you can, but these are really effective. So the number 1 is reading, for it stimulates the imagination. I know that I spend a lot of time reading, but I also spend a lot of time watching television. And so when I watch something that's a video, I don't have to use my imagination. It is already done for me. But reading actually creates images in your mind. Have you ever read a book, for instance, a novel, and then it's made into a movie, and the characters and the storyline, none of it looks the way that you imagined it when you read it? And that's because your imagination is just so much more expansive and tailors itself to what you know and what you've experienced. So you're relying solely upon the words when you read and the power of the description to create the story. And it's a wonderful way to cultivate your imagination. Writing stories, that's another way. Or you can actually tell stories if you've got grandkids or you have young children, for instance, that when you tell a story, you're creating images in someone else's mind. And when you write stories, make them short stories of somewhere or something that you haven't experienced before. Like, let's say you've never been to the moon. And so you write a story about going to the moon and what the experience might be. Or let's say you've never experienced being a lottery winner. So you imagine and tell a little story about what it was like to figure out that you had the winning ticket and what it felt like when you went out and brought it to the bank and all the people that called you to congratulate you and ask you for loans. But there's so many ways that you can write a story of something that you haven't experienced. Or let's say you've never eaten raw oysters. To imagine eating the raw oysters. Now, I could see me eating the raw oysters wouldn't be a very pleasant experience. And so my imagining of it would be exactly what I think it would probably be. But the thing is that enhances your imagination when you work it. It's a bit like taking an exercise class. you're exercising that faculty of imagination. It's really building it. So solving puzzles or playing games, and I know that many love to do puzzles, crossword puzzles, and regular puzzles, or playing a game. And the reason that they're so great for your imagination is that they make your brain think ahead. Like think about chess, for instance. There are people who are just experts at chess, and they will look at the board, and they will see the chess pieces. And when someone makes a move, they automatically see all of the different ways that one might make the next moves and what might happen and what they might do to win. And that's using the imagination. And so it's really great for you to work with puzzles and with games because of that, because you are really honing your skill, your faculty of imagination. Like, have you ever built a jigsaw puzzle? It's not my favorite thing only because it takes so much more patience to do it. I probably could do about maybe 20, 30 minutes. And then I lose interest because it just takes too long. It's my personality. So I don't know about you, but someone said when they build a puzzle, they build from the outside in because then at least they've got a framework to build on. And if you have a picture, of course, that always helps too. It helps for your imagination to start to find the right colors. So you have to develop a sense of negative shapes when you're doing a puzzle, for instance. It helps you to understand the world in a different way. And I know that it doesn't seem to make sense that your imagination will help you to understand the world in a different way, but you start to see the world differently. And you start to see it more expansively, and you start to see the possibilities. And so especially when you're stressed or you're dealing with a challenge or you're dealing with some kind of a problem, to have honed your imagination, you can then start to imagine more positive outcomes. Because I know when you have a challenge, I know that when I do, that I imagine usually the worst case scenarios first. My imagination works really well for that. It's to develop the imagination for seeing the possibilities. And one of the best ways to do that is through feelings. Because feelings are also part of your imagination. You can imagine a feeling. And so if you imagine a positive feeling, not knowing necessarily what the outcome is, but how you'll feel when it's a positive outcome, that really expands who you are spiritually as well. Coloring is another one. I know that many of you right now are smiling at the idea of coloring. Wouldn't it be great if every time you went to the restaurant, they gave you something to color, if you were like the kids and they brought you crayons and all the colors and you could sit there and chat with your friends and color? I remember there used to be a restaurant that we went to. I don't remember what it was called, but they had a big piece of paper on top of the table, and they just brought crayons out. And the waitress wrote her name in crayon on the table so you'd remember who she was. But you got to doodle while you were waiting for your dinner or for your lunch. And coloring has that way of taking you outside of the worrying about the past, worrying about the future, and just being in the present moment and just creating. So I invite you to color like a kid. Instrumental music is another wonderful way of enhancing and expanding your imagination because there's no words attached to it. And if you close your eyes to allow just the music to stir you and to move you, it's amazing the kind of feelings, smells, ideas, images, depending on what is your processing style, show up. It's a wonderful way to expand your imagination. And it really depends on the type of music as well. So if you're, let's say, listening to something like Sibelius, it can tend to be quite dark and quite drastic and quite stormy, whereas something lighter and brighter that's instrumental or calmer and more soothing can affect you in another way. So depending on where you're at, instrumental music can really make a huge difference in expanding your imagination. Meditation and achieving silence are another way to expand your imagination. Nothingness or silence helps you to focus and increase your power of imagination. And the thing is that there's a lot of misconception around the idea of meditating and achieving silence. Because the thing is that we do have this voice in our head that very seldom is silent. We have an observer that is observing how we're thinking and what we're thinking and the thoughts that are flowing through our mind. So what I recommend is to think of it as stillness, as awareness, rather than silence. And allow the sounds that are around you to bring you deeper. And allow yourself to be the observer in that stillness. So we're looking at how you can spark your imagination. So let's go into the dress rehearsal part of it. So imagination is the key to your best life, regardless of what's happening externally. I don't know if you realize how powerful you really are. One of the powers in essence, in life, in spirit, in God, whatever you choose to call it, is imagination. And we can use that power. It is a faculty that we have. And the reason that we have it is that that's ultimately how we create our life. Yes, it includes all of the other powers, for sure, all of the other faculties that we have. But imagination is the most powerful. And if you think about it, think of a negative situation you had this week, or this past month, or even this past year. Did you see yourself in your mind imagining all of the worst case scenarios? Or did you remember and start to imagine what you would rather create instead? I invite you to just continue on this spiritual journey because you're doing really well so far. You've got to be proud of yourself. Just being willing to expand the faculties that you have, to use them more fully, is pretty darn awesome, and you should be proud of yourself. Imagination is like a canvas for testing out ideas. And I like to use that analogy of a canvas because it's not the be-all and end-all. So let's say you're in a stressful situation and you want to have Spirit's help. Well, Spirit's help is the power of imagination that you're working with. So close your eyes, because that really is the best way to imagine. I mean, you can imagine with your eyes open too, but there's a lot of distractions. Imagine all of the ways that the outcome could actually be brilliant rather than the negative ones that you've been thinking of. And if you can't imagine a positive outcome, like I said before, imagine how it feels to have had a positive outcome. So let's say you're scheduled to do something you've never done before, and you imagine yourself forgetting, being late, all of the things that would be the negative experiences of this new thing, that you just don't get it, that everybody laughs at you because you made mistakes. How about if you imagine that Spirit is at the core of who you are, guiding you and showing you the way? And that if you do make a mistake, that it's okay. Everyone goes, hey, that's okay. And just imagine the possibilities. Analogies and metaphors are another really great way for using our imagination because they make our imagination potentially infinite. Life is like a box of chocolates is a wonderful metaphor because you can imagine a box of chocolates. You've had a box of chocolates. You've eaten chocolates from a box of chocolates. And you know how you'll take a bite of some of them and it's like, oh, this is the best chocolate I ever had. And you'll take the bite of another one and think, ooh, I don't like this one at all. Well, that's what life is like as well. And you get to choose another chocolate. You get to try it. You get to move forward going through the entire box, just biting half a chocolate if you want in your imagination. But life is like a box of chocolates. We get it all, and we get to choose how we respond to the chocolate, to the life experience. The metaphors and analogies actually enable us to perceive beyond our immediate physical space. And it gives our brain an extremely unique characteristic, which is the ability to be able to create your life through that which you're imagining. For you have been given your imagination by Spirit. So how have you been using it lately? Have you been imagining the best? Imagining possibilities? Imagining the worst? None of it is good or bad. It's just to recognize that it is powerful. It's a powerful tool that you're using all of the time, and you can be deliberate with it. You know that we can imagine scenarios that are real, and we can create stories of past events and events that have never happened just through our imagination. We see images and sensations as if they were real, and we can use this unique faculty of the brain to expand the canvas itself. So I invite you today, and as you move forward in this week, to pay attention to your imaginings, to pay attention to, are you imagining good, positive outcomes, or are you imagining the worst? Or are you imagining that things will always stay the same, rather than allowing for the possibilities, the infinite possibilities that Spirit has for you? And ideas spark ideas. Ideas are not intended to sit on our brains. Ideas are designed to trigger a response. And that is ultimately, I think, what Spirit is divine ideas. And they're constantly flowing to us. And it's to be open to those divine ideas. And as soon as you have an idea, then other ideas come to mind. So let's say you have to cook a meal, and someone gives you a bunch of spinach and says you have to create the meal around spinach. Do you notice how right away you're starting to think about, oh, well, I like spinach, or no, I don't like spinach. What might go with spinach? How would I cook it? Would I have it raw? So you see how the idea of spinach sparked ideas of other things. Now, I could have used another example, but that gives you sort of an idea. Automatic writing exercise is another way. Every idea is designed to trigger a response. Ideas spark ideas. So have you ever done automatic writing? And that is to not have any intention at all, but just to write down all of the thoughts that are going through your head and following through on those thoughts by writing them down. And it's a bit like if you've played the game on Facebook where they say to allow the prompts on the Facebook comment section to pick the words for you. So they might start with, I love dancing because, and then you just keep putting in the words that Facebook recommends for you, and it's the most amazing statement that ends up coming out. Well, it's the same thing with your ideas and your imagination. And when you do automatic writing, it allows for you to really expand your imagination. And again, I want to say it because it's so important. Say it again. And that is that your imagination is ultimately what creates your life, because that imagination goes into the essence of life and brings back to you all of the feelings and emotions and visuals of that imagining. There is no such thing as good or bad. And I know that you'll say, wait, Anne, wait. There is good and there is bad. And yes, I can see where you can come from that perspective. But the thing is that everything actually just is. And painting it good or bad is kind of stopping the flow. Because if you say something is good, you really don't care if anything better comes along in the subconscious. And if you say something's bad, you've kind of stopped yourself in your tracks. But how about if you said it's effective or ineffective? Can you see where painting something, judging something with the brush of that was ineffective, as soon as you say that was ineffective, ideas start to come to mind on how it might be more effective. Or if you say, that was ineffective, okay, so what can I do instead? It bubbles up all kinds of ideas. So I invite you as you move through this week again to think about, rather than good or bad, about yourself or about anything else that you're experiencing, to say, well, that was ineffective or that was really effective, because it keeps the door open to possibilities. Our minds are creativity engines with unlimited potential output. I mean, that's the whole idea of this infinity of spirit, that it goes beyond anything that we can imagine. There is no outer limits at all. And when you're tapped into your imagination, the outer limits really truly don't exist when you exercise it. They may exist initially because you haven't worked it enough. You haven't played enough with coloring or listening to instrumental music or reading rather than watching videos. I invite you to expand your imagination, because ultimately your life will be even better, even happier, even more joyful. The only problem that we have is our imagination is limited by our current frame of reference. It needs a trigger. We have to form new ideas through new sensory information, or find new ways of pondering old memories or new combinations of concepts to expand our imagination. And so that's basically what I'm saying. So if you are, let's say, in a stressful situation or a challenge, you may be imagining that you never ever had positive outcomes doing this before, so how could you possibly now? And that's where the feelings come in. So take that problem right now, that problem or challenge, something that comes to mind, and just close your eyes for a minute. And imagine that problem, that challenge being resolved in maybe a really awesome way, something that surprises you. And just see how you feel and how you feel in your body and in your mind as you're seeing this really unusual outcome. Now, open your eyes. So what you have just done is expanded your ability and your imagination. No one else can imagine what you can imagine, because they don't have all of the memories and all of the experiences and the way of looking at life that you do. You have a window on our world that no one else will ever have. And that's why, as this unique expression of the divine, you are so valuable, you are so important. Because we are one, we're interconnected, whether you like to think so or not. And as you bring your uniqueness, your unique imaginings of how life can possibly be in a positive way, that you're influencing everything in life. That's how it happens. When you capture and share your unique window on the world, it actually merges with humanity. And I know it seems like when there are billions of people on the planet, how is it that your imaginings could possibly make a difference? But the thing is, you're seeing separateness when you're imagining all those individuals. If you see it as a field of potentiality, as a field of love that just is everywhere, and your imaginings are like throwing a stone into a pond, and the ripples go out and touch every bit of that water ultimately, that's how your imaginings affect the world. You are an example to someone, always. Like Jesus was an example of how life can be lived. Muhammad was, Buddha was. That's why they are considered sacred texts, sacred teachings, because they speak to the amazing possibilities that we each have as human beings. They weren't unique individuals from the standpoint that only they could do those things. They were an example for each of us to know that that wisdom resides in the collective, in that consciousness that is all of us. And that as you expand your imagination, you not only expand the world, but expand that which you are imagining. So it's a huge responsibility in some ways, because you're affecting your own life, but you also are affecting everything around you. And so why not make it positive, make it wonderful, make it peaceful, make it how you would choose to live your life. We're not going to imagine the future by thinking bigger. We need to think more interconnected. And does that resonate with you? How does that feel when I say that? We're not going to imagine the future by thinking bigger. We need to think more interconnected. We need to let our ideas spark each other's ideas and vice versa. The variety widens our perspective and truly expands our thinking. And I think right now, one of the things that has happened because of this social distancing and the pandemic is that we've had to be really creative on how we live our lives. And we've had to use our imagination to move forward and to expand this experience. But it's also really made it real for me, and probably for you too, that I miss the interconnection with people, because that contact, that connection, actually expands who I am and expands everyone else as well. So I look forward to the day when we're coming together again to really expand the world through our being together. The future is our collective imagination made real. And so why not be that percentage that takes us over the edge and creates a world that is more peaceful, more harmonious, more loving? Why not? It doesn't matter if my imagination is an accurate prediction of the future, one giant analogy, or pure science fiction. It doesn't matter. Because the thing is, it goes into this permeable substance that we call life, God, spirit, the universe. And it impacts that field of possibilities. And it returns to you, to me, to all of us with something even better, something grander. Because we don't ever go backwards. We're always moving forward, always expressing more love, more joy, more peace, even if it doesn't look like that's the case. Ideas spark ideas. And by expanding our collective imagination exponentially, we will be prepared for whatever the future brings, because we created it together. And so that's the importance of community. That's the importance of building our spiritual community and coming together. Because as we do that together, we create an even better world for each of us. So we've looked at sparking the imagination. We've looked at having the dress rehearsal. So what is the idea behind imagination? Imagination isn't what we think. It's how we think. And imagination and how we think is we think in possibilities. And as soon as you do, things start to change. The universe around us is hidden in plain sight. And you know, I don't know if you were like this, but when I was younger, I was quite shy. And I would walk into a room and I'd be so nervous that if I was looking for a friend, for instance, I couldn't see that friend even if they were standing in front of me, jumping up and down, because my nervousness didn't allow me to see them. And so they were hidden in plain sight for me because I was stressed and I was nervous. And the world is the same way. When you live every day under a certain amount of stress, or under a certain amount of negativity, or under a certain amount of fear, then you don't see the possibilities that are right there jumping up and down in front of you. But they are there. And so take a deep breath in those moments. Close your eyes just for a minute. And imagine how it would feel like, for me, the example of walking into a room looking for someone. Taking a deep breath and just imagining that there they are. I saw them. How great. And when I opened my eyes, that was enough for me to be able to see them. So I invite you to consider that. In the cognitive science, in the cognitive sciences, we can see things we already know, and we won't see things that we don't know. In the cognitive sciences, they say that we can see things we already know, and we won't see things that we don't know. And it's hard to imagine that something can be going on that you don't notice, but it's because your filter, your perspective, is not allowing you to see it the way that it is. There's a story in a book about highly effective people. I think it's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And in the first chapter, they talk about this man who has lost his wife. She just died in the hospital. And he was in the train car with his 2 children, and he was just devastated. He had his head in his hands, and his children were having an opposite response. They were hyper and just wild, running up and down the car, and just dealing with the grief in that way. And there was someone sitting across from him, and they were looking at him thinking, like, what the heck is that man? What kind of a father is that man? Look at him. He's not looking after his children. He's allowing them to just run around wild. And speaks up and says to the man, hey, look after your kids there. They're being a nuisance. And he looks up and he looks into the man's eyes and he says, I'm sorry, I didn't even notice. My wife just died in the hospital. And I just was distracted for a moment. And he called his kids over to him. And it was an example for the person who called him out on that, to recognize that even if you see something, you don't always know what's going on. And so our imagination can get us into trouble or filter life in a way that doesn't allow us to be as loving and as compassionate as we can be, like that man in the railway car. We get stuck in a certain situation when we say, that reminds me, or, that's just like, or, I remember when, or, last week we had the same kind of problem. And as soon as you start any situation, even something new, with those statements, you've already limited the possibilities. You've limited what could possibly happen. So if you begin to listen for how you're judging based on previous knowledge, you find out that we all do it. So it's not that it's a problem that you have, it's a skill that you have, and it's a matter of choosing to use that skill in a different way, in a more positive, more empowering way, because Spirit says yes to either one. This is one of the main ways that we make sense of the world, is by judging and by relying on what we already knew. But that may not be what's available to us. That's all I'm saying. Albert Einstein noted that imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge could be great, but imagination is greater. And he understood that it's the imagination that allowed for him to have the kind of discoveries that he did, because the previous knowledge did not include some of the things that he was able to discover. Any knowledge we have came from something that we previously imagined. And so why not say, okay, Spirit, essence of life, I'm open to new possibilities. Show me how I might be more open. We are in an endless dance where our imagination leads. It is the leading partner in this dance. And so why not be in control of that imagination? Universal mind localizes as and through you, which you experience as ideas, intuition, and imagination. Spirit really connects with you through divine ideas. And the thing is, those divine ideas come to you when you're open to them. And they don't come to you when you aren't open to them. Unity's teachings urge us to make definite the infinite, with the caveat, this or something better. And it's interesting, there's 2 parts to that. Make definite the infinite. To prove it in our lives, to put feet to the ideas that we have, to prove that spirit actually is part of who each and every one of us is. And that if you're feeling like maybe you've put your ideas in a box, or you've put the possibilities into a box, to say this or something better allows for that opening, for something more to come in. It's up to you to learn to consciously create through universal mind. I can't do it for you, but I've given you some ideas, haven't I? And any one of them will start you on the journey of a more expansive imagination. Your list of wants, needs, and desires present a kind of limitation because the infinite creative does not have any limits. And so people say, well, let's make goals. Let's make lists of all the things that you want. And that's a limit, because you may get all those things and say, I'm still not happy. Have you ever had that happen? You really, really, really wanted something, and when you got it, it didn't live up to your expectations. So there's the key right there. Why didn't it? Because you probably didn't include how you would feel if it was ultimately the best thing that ever happened to you, or the resolution to a problem. So I invite you to use your imagination, yes, in pictures, but use your imagination as feelings of a desired outcome, because that really causes it to anchor, to land, and to show up in your life. So are you ready to open to greater possibilities, to bigger adventures, to loftier pursuits? Maybe you're just pretty happy with the way life is. Because you are happy, that's okay. And maybe you're not happy with the life that you have, but you're not ready to move forward. And that's okay. Think of it as, is this effective or ineffective? And if it's ineffective, what might you do? And as soon as you ask the question, you're going to get an answer. You are filled with the power to duplicate the creative nature of living spirit through your imagination. That's why they say that we are a spark of the divine. We're a personalized, individualized expression of the divine, because everything that life can do, it can do through us. But we have to deliberately cause it to happen if we're in old habits of stress and challenge and fear. Appreciate your fertile and vivid imagination, because it is awesome, and it has been creating your life up to this point, and it has been creating openings for your desires for more. But know that you can also consciously create your life by having the feelings of having already accomplished something that perhaps you don't know what it's going to look like. Maybe you're having a health challenge or an emotional challenge or a challenge at work. Why not sit for a moment and imagine how you would feel if that issue was resolved? Would you feel peaceful, relieved, comfortable, joyful, exuberant? And then allow those feelings to fill every cell of your body, because you are a master creator. Will you adjust, attune, and redirect your spiritual practices to include more imagination and creative expression? Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to expand your imagination? Just even for fun, as an experiment, to see how it might enhance your life. Notice each time you have new thoughts, ideas, feelings, inklings, and intuitions. Because when they are new, that's a sign that you have been expanding your imagination. Imagination allows us, in a sense, to run through a dress rehearsal in our mind's eye. And not a negative dress rehearsal, but a positive one. Notice how your imagination shifts your entire being, your spirit, your mind, your body. One of the greatest examples is imagine a lemon, and imagine cutting open that lemon, and imagine biting into that lemon. I'm already salivating at the idea of it. It's amazing how I can feel it in my body, and yet I actually didn't have a lemon at all. But that is how powerful physiologically our imagination is. So imagine. So are you ready to tune up your imagination, spark your imagination, and then do dress rehearsals in your imagination? I hope you are. So let's anchor this with this song, Pure Imagination.
Hold your breath, make a wish, and count to 3. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
So let's use our imagination for this prosperity affirmation. From the love of pure spirit in me, I bless all that I give. It goes forth to heal and bless and prosper. It is evidence of my faith in the good in my life. It does great work in the world, and it returns to me multiplied abundantly. I am prosperous. And can you just imagine, as you give out with a big smile on your face, that you just open your arms and just receive, receive, receive exponentially to that which you've given out? Because that's how it works. So Eddie Watkins Jr. has this other great song called What Would Love Do Now? So sing along if you like.
Just before you say something you can't take away, Take a breath and let it out. Try to think about what would love do now. Wondering if you should cross that line for good. Whatever you decide, ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we try for love. In the end, that's all we know. That's real. Whether right or wrong doesn't matter just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we try for love. In the end, that's all we know. That's real. Whether right or wrong doesn't matter just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? What would love do now? What would love do now? What would love do now?
So join with me in consciousness for this closing prayer. And know that as you imagine people in your life and situations in your life, see them surrounded by the love of Spirit and include them in the consciousness of this prayer. The infinite mind of God, which is my mind, fills my awareness with all I need to live a full and happy life. I follow the guidance. I am peaceful. I release all fear. I am living love. And so it is. And our final song for today, Think It, Dream It, Believe It, Do It, by Karen Drucker and Emilio Zaras.
Think it, dream it, believe it, do it. Think it, dream it, believe it, and do it. I'm taking all those blocks away from me. I'm claiming my passion right now. I am the CEO of my life, and nothing's gonna stop me, no way, no how. Think it, dream it, believe it, and do it. Think it, just dream it, believe it, and do it. I'm gonna dare to dream and make some plans of all the things I want to do. I'm gonna lighten my load and ask for help. I am open to receiving and my dreams are coming true. Think it, dream it, believe it, and do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. I can do it. Thinking, believe it, I can do it. Just dream it, I can do it. Believe it, I can do it. Do it. Thinking, just dream it, believe it, and do it. Thinking and dream it, believe it, and do it. Thinking and dream it, believe it. I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it. I can do it. Thinking, I can do it. Just dream it, I can do it. Believe it, I can do it. I can do it. Thinking and dreaming, believe it, I can do it.
Oh, thank you so much for being here again this week. I hope that you've got some ideas around imagination and how powerful you actually are using that faculty of imagination. So thank you so much from Emilio and I. I hope that you got some nuggets to help you through your week, and we'd love to receive your donations. And also, please share this video with your friends. The information on how to send us a donation is at the end of this talk in a short video. So we'll see you next week. Bye for now. We love you.